Hi, thanks for tuning in into my YouTube channel. My name is Franziska. I'm a wet felting artist living and working here in Ireland. So yesterday I made this decoration and I said, I might as well film it and let you join in the fun of making it. So there's any possibilities with color combinations, you can make it as well bigger or smaller. It's not a very long tutorial, it's fairly quickly done, but now we have the long dark evenings here in Ireland, might as well sit down and do something productive for ourselves. So thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy it. Bye! Now, first of all, apologies for my voice, I have a slight cold. So what I have here on my table is a piece of non-slip mat and some bubble wrap or something that's similar. It's about an A4 size. Then the purple piece is my resist. You can use anything that is waterproofed. It shouldn't be too hard. There should be a little bit of movement in it. But milk carton will be sufficient as well, something like that, or any kind of plastic really. So those are the measurements, about 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters, and of course you can make it bigger or smaller to suit yourself. Then, as you can see, I started here laying down my wool. I am using an 18 micron merino wool and it's a batting, so meaning I don't have to lay out the design crisscross. I can just pull it apart and put it down on my resist as I like it color wise. So there's a brighter color, lighter color on top, and then as I'm going down it's getting a bit darker. So I have the bubble wrap on the table, the bubbles facing up, then my non-slip mat, then the resist, and that's what I am covering now here with the merino wool. You can use, of course, any other colors, any other wool as well. It doesn't have to be merino wool. I just prefer to work with merino wool, but any other wool will do as well. As you see now, I'm making it all wet with warm water, and I add some soap then later on, but that's what I need is warm water and soap for the wet felting. But for the time being, I just make it wet. I cover it with the non-slip mat and I'm going to turn it around. So then I open it. Sometimes the wool sticks a little bit to the non-slip mat, so just be careful. And then I fold in all the wool into the resist. So you see me doing this here. I fold in the wool that's showing. I lap it over the resist, fold it over the resist, and I'm then filling in the gaps with more wool. So you see here I have gaps in it. You can see the purple resist. So I'm adding more wool over it to fill the gaps. And again, just because it's a batting, I can just lay it down into it. I don't have to make any crisscross design as you normally would do with a roving. I'm just saying that because there's a lot more roving wool available than bats, although I find bats so much easier to work with. So again, I'm covering it and I make it wet again. Press down, and I press down to get the air out and make sure everything is really wet. And then again I turn it around, because more than likely there's more wool looking out from underneath, and I have to fold that in again as well. Yeah. because if I don't fold this in, first of all, I won't have, well, I will have some kind of a shape, but they will just kind of hang loose then when we do the felting. So once they fold it in, they will stick to the other wool and we get a nice shape to it. So now I'm covering this again, and now I add the soap. So the soap definitely helps with the felting process as well, and everybody is so different in what kind of soap they're using. Some even use washing up liquid. I just use normal soap, but I always say felting is like making a bread or a cake. There's some kind of a recipe you have to follow, but as you get more well, I wouldn't say advanced, but as you do it more and more, you realize, oh, actually I prefer it this way or that way. So there is no, well, the ground rules really are just soap and warm water and wool. Those are the ground things you need to know for felting. But other than that, you can be as adventurous as you want to be and discover your own preferences to felting. So I'm just moved forward the movie a little bit, so of course I am not felting as fast as this, which would be fairly handy. As you can see, I'm doing it on the bubble wrap. It's a great tool to have. You can kind of glide it over the bubbles a little bit, so that helps with the felting, any kind of attraction underneath. So then I cut the bottom of it, because of course the resist will have to come out. And this is exactly why we use a resist, because the wool is not able to stick together with that's why it's called the resist in the middle. So we take that out and then we get a hollow form. So this will be the bell. So now I can keep felting this. I like to add warm water every now and again. I don't like when it gets cold in my hands. I might add some more soap as well, see how I go. Make sure you open it all the time again, because at this stage it may still stick together. So when you do this the first time, felt with the resist for as long as possible till you take it out, because most people don't felt enough when they start off. Because if you take the resist out too soon, more than likely it will start to stick together, and then that will ruin your hollow form, and you're not going to end up with a bell. I don't know what you're going to end up, but it won't be what you want. So again, I'm just gonna, I have too much soap in there now. If it gets too slippy, I don't like the feel of it, and definitely slows down the felting process if you have too much soot on your project, which obviously happened to me here. So I'm just going to take some of it out and keep felting it. See, now at this stage now I can roll this in my hand with the fingers in it, and just keep going. So this moving on the video a bit fast is a great tool. It's funny to watch. It'd be great to felt like this. Speedy Gonzalez might actually cut this part out, because you see now what I'm doing. I'm just keep felting this till I'm happy. Felt has to become fairly stiff. If I put this on the table now, as I think I'm going to do now, you can see it would actually hold its form. It's not going to collapse. Now see the difference now, that's how much it has shrunk. So that will give you a good indication as well how well it's felted. but you see it's keeping its form even if I put it on the table like that. So I went and I washed it out under a running tap to get rid of all the soap. But I have here some water again, and I'm going to add a dash of vinegar. And I'm going to add the wool into it, the felt, because I want to get rid of all the soap. Soap eventually will make the wool a little bit brittle and also might take some of the colours. So I always like to wash it out in a bit of vinegar. It will also neutralise the soap. So the next thing then, I'm going to show you how I make those beads, and in the meantime I'm just put the bell aside and I let it dry. But basically this project can be done all in one go. You don't have to wait till everything is completely dry. So for the beads again, I am using merino wool. I make it wet here. I don't need a non-slip mat for this, because I just want to wet it. And then I said it's a bit too wide. I'm going to take it vertically. I fold it in two, and then I roll this up as good as you can. Roll it up, and it doesn't really matter how much you have or don't have. They're beads, it's a fun thing to do, and you can add as many colors as you want or as little colors as you want. So don't do any felting with this, just roll it up and put it aside, just as I'm doing here. Then this is my next color. Again, I'll have to wet it. Nothing works in the felting world without water. And again, I'm going to roll this up, but I'm going to put the yellow part into the middle. So fold it over and roll it up. Then the next color. And so forth. I think you get the gist. Wet again. Once it's wet, I can add this sausage into it and roll it up. Now I wonder, yeah, I'm going to add some on the sides there, just to get the most out of it. I could have just left it, but I want to get the most out of it. And because my table is already so wet, I'm just going to roll this up. They'll be soaked by the time I'm finished with it. Yeah, battings are just amazing in the wool. I just, you know, just lie it down and off you go. So now I have, oh, I'm going to add some more colour. I forgot about that. How many layers am I putting into this? Another one. So back to my non-slip mat, and I am going to roll this whole piece into it, because it's fairly delicate now at this stage, and the non-slip mat really helps to keep the wool in place. It's very simple but very effective. It tolerates a lot more of the work without coming out the shape or form. So I'm just getting rid of some of the excess water there. And I start to roll it. To start off, it's a bit, well, I wouldn't call it hard, it's just a bit awkward to start it off because it's not completely round and it's not as hard, it's fluffy. But as you get going, it gets easier and easier to roll this. I added a bit of soap again to make it a bit more slippy to work with. So I just adjusted the non-slip mat again, and then we could just roll it. So after a while it will be fairly well felted, and you can actually remove the non-slip mat, as it will be stable enough just to roll it on its own. You see here now, so a bit of soap and keep rolling it. You want to have this really tight. You can cut some, off and have a look inside and see what you think, as I'm doing here. See, sorry, I'm a bit off camera there, so I feel no, I'll have to do a little bit more, and also can't see the inside colours just yet. Remember, the yellow has to come through yet. That's in the middle. So, but anyway, I'll have to roll this a bit more. So I'm finished now. You can see the small bit of yellow. I suppose I could have put in a bit more yellow, but anyway, it is what it is. So this is a tool that I use when I do leather work. It's called a half moon. It's a very sharp knife. I presume most of you won't have this at home, but it's really good for me, so I can just cut off those slices, the thickness that I want. But you can equally do it either with a really sharp knife, a Stanley knife, or if you have really sharp scissors, you can do it with a scissor. Just sometimes I find with scissors, especially when it's a fairly thick roll, that it won't come out straight. So now I have them all cut. So you can see some of them have really nice yellow in the middle. I'm really happy with them. So I have a bit of a twine here with a loop at the top, so I can hang it up, and I'm going to attach a needle. So I suppose you can make this twine as long as you want it to suit your own needs. So attach the needle, and then all we have to do is assemble it. And I am assembling this by first starting with the beads, and I'm using an awl for that, and I'm also mixing in some of the other colours that I had previously made. So just to go through with the needle probably won't work, so I have an awl and I punch a hole through it, and then I can go through it with the needle much easier. By the way, I sell them all in my online shop. If you don't have one, they're a really handy tool to have. So through with the needle there. I don't need to make any knots into the twine. They're not going to slip down or anything. So the pliers just help there with the needles to pull it through. And I'm just moving them up. And then I attach one after the other, whichever pattern you want, or as many as you want to add. And then in the end I add the bell as well, and I'll secure the bell a little bit. You'll see it later on how I do this. But this is basically the end of this. You just see me now adding those beads to the twine, and I have a little metal bead there on the towel, if you can see it. That will come to the very end. It's just a little bit of fun to add to it. So I hope you enjoyed this bit of a tutorial. I have other tutorials as well in my YouTube channel, and there's also free tutorials via my website, and I'm going to put the link down into the comments below, the link to my website. You can go and check it out, and there's free tutorials as well as pet tutorials. So thanks for watching, and if you make one of them yourself, please upload it here into the comments. I'd love to see it, and I talk to you soon again. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.